I was never meant to see her that night. All I wanted was a quick stop at the little cafe on Maple Street for a cup of coffee before heading home. Work had drained me dry that week, and I just needed a quiet corner, some warmth in my hands, and a few peaceful minutes to breathe. But fate, if that's what you call it, had something else lined up. When I finally looked up from my phone, she was standing there. 7 years had done nothing to change her. She still moved with that quiet grace, that effortless calm that used to draw every gaze in the room. Only this time, she wasn't my wife. She was the echo of a life I'd buried. For a moment, my lungs forgot how to work. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it, and memories I thought I'd locked away came rushing back. The wedding, her laugh echoing through our kitchen, the night everything fell apart. She noticed me before I could turn away. Our eyes locked, and suddenly the cafe disappeared. It was just her and me again, suspended between what was and what would never be. "Daniel," she said softly, stepping closer. Her voice still carried that familiar warmth, the sound that once felt like home. "I didn't think I'd ever see you again." I swallowed hard. Neither did I. She smiled faintly, that same kind of smile that hides 1,000 unspoken things. "Mind if I sit?" Every part of me screamed to say no, to protect the fragile peace I'd built, but I couldn't make the words come out. I just nodded. She took the seat across from me. For a while, neither of us spoke. The low murmur of the cafe faded into nothing. All I could hear was my heartbeat and the ghost of her voice lingering in my mind. It had been 7 years since the divorce. 7 years since the night I came home and watched everything I thought I knew about love turn to dust. There hadn't been shouting or drama, just a quiet kind of devastation. Her phone had buzzed on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. A name I didn't recognize. A few messages. A picture. That was all it took. They weren't just words on a screen. They were proof of a secret life she'd been living right beside me. He was a man from her office. Late meetings. Weekend trips. Visiting her sister. I remember staring at that screen, numb, unable to make sense of what I was seeing. The woman I trusted completely had been living a lie. When she came out of the shower, towel around her, humming softly like the world was fine, I couldn't even bring myself to shout. I just asked, "How long?" Her smile vanished. She froze, eyes wide with something, fear, guilt, maybe both. Then she whispered, "Dan, please." That was enough. I packed a bag that night and walked out without another word. And now, after all those years, she sat across from me again, sipping her coffee like time had never passed. "You look good," she said, her tone light but shy. Then a small laugh slipped out. "Thanks," I replied. "Guess time fixes some things." "Not everything," she murmured, her gaze dropping to her hands. The silence between us was thick. I didn't know what she wanted. Closure, forgiveness, maybe just curiosity about the man she'd broken. But something in me wanted to hear her out. Maybe I needed to. So I finally asked, "Why now?" She hesitated, tracing her finger around the rim of her cup. "I saw you at the park last week. You were with a woman and a little boy." "Yeah," I said, "my sister's kid." A flicker of relief crossed her face. "Oh, I thought maybe you'd moved on." I let out a bitter smirk. "You're one to talk." Her eyes lifted, glassy with something between regret and shame. "I deserve that." "You deserve worse," I said before I could stop myself. She didn't argue. Instead, she took a shaky breath. "I came because I need to tell you something." My stomach tightened. "About what?" "About why I did it." I didn't want to hear excuses. I'd spent years replaying that night, tearing apart every memory, trying to understand what went wrong. But curiosity is cruel. It doesn't let you turn away. So I let her speak. "I never planned it," she said quietly. "It started small. Someone who listened. Someone who noticed when you didn't." That hit like a punch. My hands clenched. "So it's my fault?" "No." She shook her head quickly. "It wasn't about blame. It was weakness. I felt invisible, and I made a choice that destroyed everything. I thought I could keep it separate But it grew, and then I was stuck in a lie I didn't know how to end. Her voice cracked. I hated myself, Daniel, every single day. But by the time I realized what I'd done, it was too late. You'd already seen everything. I wanted to stay angry, to throw every word back at her. But the look in her eyes, raw, trembling, painfully human, made it hard to hold on to that rage. What happened to him? I asked. Her lips pressed together. He left a few months after you did. Said he didn't want the baggage. There was the poetic justice I used to dream about, but it didn't feel good. It just made me tired. We talked for more than an hour. About the past. About what we lost. About the hollow years in between. She told me she never remarried. Tried dating, couldn't make it work. Every time someone got close, she'd pull away, haunted by what she'd done to me. I couldn't decide if I pitied her or respected her honesty. When the waiter cleared our cups, she looked up and said, I never stopped thinking about you. Not once. You were the only real thing I ever had. Daniel. My throat tightened. Then why did you throw it away? She looked down, tears catching the dim light. Because I didn't know how to love something good. I thought I wanted excitement, freedom. But what I really wanted was peace, and I'd already destroyed it. The cafe had grown quiet. Most of the customers were gone. Chairs scraped softly against the floor as she reached across the table, her fingers brushing mine. I don't expect forgiveness, she whispered. I just needed you to know I'm sorry. Truly sorry. For a long moment, I couldn't speak. Years of anger and confusion had led to this single trembling apology. And in that instant, I realized a part of me that once burned with hatred was gone. Not replaced by forgiveness, but by something quieter, acceptance, maybe peace. We walked outside together. The air was cool and smelled faintly of rain. She folded her arms and said softly, You look happier now. I'm glad. Maybe I am, I said. Took a while. Do you ever think about us? She asked. Sometimes, I said, mostly when I try not to. A sad smile crossed her face. If I could go back. You can't, I said gently. Neither of us can. She blinked away tears. I know, but I needed to hear you say it. Then she reached into her bag, pulled out a small envelope, and handed it to me. What's this? Something I wrote a few years after the divorce. I never had the courage to send it. Maybe you should read it now. Before I could respond, she stepped back, gave me one last lingering look, and disappeared into the rain-soaked night, like a memory finally setting itself free. I stood there for a long while, the envelope trembling in my hand. When I got home, I opened it. Inside was a short letter in the same looping handwriting I used to love. It read, If you ever wonder whether I loved you, the answer is yes. I just didn't know how to deserve you. I hope one day you find someone who does. I stared at those words for what felt like hours. And for the first time in 7 years, something inside me shifted. Not joy, not sorrow, just peace.